Hello and welcome to another episode of the CUFI Weekly. And before we talk about our main topic today, I want to take a moment to recognize that on Monday of this week, we commemorated the 22nd anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks on New York and Washington, D.C. Look, I think it's important that we pause to reflect and remember, but also acknowledge that as we're 22 years out from the deadliest terrorist attack on American soil, the lives lost, the people who rushed in to the Pentagon and the Twin Towers to save lives, so many who didn't come out, and those who fought in the war on terror which followed, 22 years since 9/11, we are starting to forget the threat that America faces from our enemies and the determination of those extremist groups and terror-supporting countries to murder Americans both in the United States and overseas. We should never forget the threats that we face, but we should never forget American resolve, America's very best that we saw on that day, and when we come together as a nation, what we are possible of achieving. So the topic of today on the CUFI Weekly is Iran. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant announced that Iran is building an airport in southern Lebanon, just 20 kilometers, 12 miles away from the Israeli border. This is obviously a major development and really something that Israel is concerned about, and understandably so. Remember, Iran is a country which constantly, publicly, says that it is going to wipe Israel from the face of the earth, that it is going to destroy the Jewish state. There is even a countdown timer that it has in Iran, counting down to when the Jewish state will be destroyed. We know that Iran has supplied, funded, trained one of the most powerful terrorist armies in the world, in Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. But now they're building an airport just 12 miles away from Israel's border. This is a bigger security threat as you can imagine. And just to give you some perspective, 12 miles is a very short distance. You may not know this, I run half marathons. Those are 13 miles, and I can run that in about 2 hours. 12 miles away, Iran is building an airport where Iran can put its air force, where it can transport weapons from Tehran right up to the Israeli border. Yet, as this news has broken and the foreign minister showed images of the airport being built, he showed it with the Iranian flag. I mean, that's another topic we could discuss. Here is Lebanon, a sovereign country, and an airport is being built on its border with Israel, flying an Iranian flag. And in other news, the United States government has an agreement with Iran to release hostages in release for $6 billion of Iranian frozen funds. And people are saying, well, and I've heard people say this, well, those $6 billion belong to Iran anyway. They were frozen funds. They were frozen because of Iran's activity. They were frozen because Iran supports terrorism. They were frozen because Iran continues to support terrorism. From Iraq to Afghanistan to Syria to Lebanon to Yemen to Bahrain, Iran funds and supports terrorism. Iran persecutes its own people. It persecutes religious minorities. It has been caught multiple times executing terror attacks outside of its borders in India and Bulgaria. In Washington, D.C., when it tried to kill the Saudi ambassador to the United States in Washington, D.C., fully aware that it would kill hundreds of civilians potentially. The reality is Iran grows more and more emboldened each and every day. The Atomic Agency, the IAEA, has said that Iran has reached a new level of enrichment, that it's expanding its enrichment activities, it's expanding its missile activities. This is a threat to the region. This is a threat to Israel, of course, but to our other Gulf allies. It's a threat to every country in the region where you have Iran, which has shown very to little concern about the sovereignty of any country. This is a pathway going down, and this is incredibly dangerous. We have to continue to raise awareness about Iran's abysmal treatment of its own people, its minorities, its women, anyone who thinks differently. We need to continue to raise awareness of what Iran is doing, how it is violating the sovereignty of so many countries, running countries and hijacking their sovereignty and making them Iranian vassal states. And we have to highlight Iran's horrific anti-Semitism and its disgusting anti-Western rhetoric, which is creating generation after generation of young Iranians being taught to hate. They also deserve better. This is Kasim Hafeez for the CUFI Weekly. For Zion's sake, do not remain silent.
Thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to like and subscribe so you get a notification every time a new episode hits. And if you want to check out some of our previous episodes, and we've got some really good ones, click on one of the thumbnails and that will take you right there. And finally, if you want to know more about CUFI and the work we do, go to cufi.org to check out all the resources we have available free to you.